Are governments controlling the weather? First of all, I just want to say I love when videos start off like that. You know it's going to be a good conspiracy theory video as soon as you get that little zip in right here. That little, look at this. Look at that. All the stuff. All the things you need for a great conspiracy theory video, all in one little 5-second clip. Aliens, crop circles, UFO. It's perfect. It literally doesn't get any better than that.
When we look at all these storm cells happening around the globe, it seems that the power and focus of these storms is almost being engineered. We can look at the paths of hurricanes and see that they're not random anymore.
So when we're going into this idea about weather control and these weather events being controlled by somebody, to me, the first thing you have to think about is why? Why is this happening? Who would want to do this? And to me, before we even get into it, it's kind of simple, right? The people that would want to do it are those that want to control us, right? If you control people with the fear of storms and tornadoes and floods, what are you doing? You're effectively putting everybody on edge, right? You're getting everybody into a state of panic anytime it starts to rain a little bit too hard. That panic causes more people to buy things. More buying things means inflation in the government and the markets and the economy. That has been the conspiracy that I've heard for the longest time as to why anybody would want to do something like that. You know, we'll just go off of that alone. Here we go.
What if there's a more sinister explanation? Something man-made? Some say there's a top-secret government device that can destroy our world. Capable of causing earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis. Conspiracy theorists say it can even be used to control your mind. Has the US government created the ultimate weapon of war? Something more devastating than a nuclear bomb?
It's always interesting how it goes from controlling the weather to controlling your mind. It goes straight there, guys. Like you cannot have a good conspiracy theory without it somehow being like someone is seeding thoughts and emotions into your brain to cause you to do things you don't want to do. And again, this particular conspiracy theory regarding weather has been around for so many years. In fact, I live in Georgia, right? And so being in Georgia, living in Atlanta for all these years, there's one particular weather theory that has been going around for a long time. Apparently during the winter, we have a lot of fog, really, really dense fog. Matter of fact, just recently we had a fog weather event that required the National Weather Service to send us a warning and an alert. And the fog is so dense. There are people here in Georgia who believe that the weather, or the fog rather, is actually designed to carry illnesses, sicknesses, and things like the flu. Recently, the flu has been so bad in Georgia that people are believing that the fog is carrying diseases and putting it into our bodies and causing us to get sick. Now, we always got to ask the question, why? Who would want to do this? What's going on? Obviously, if it's a control mechanism and is designed to get us more sick, so we're more reliant on the medical industry, maybe. But this particular theory about HAARP, it goes further than just the fog. It goes into the rain. It goes into the storms, right? Having a machine that can control all of that, right? Being able to control your weather and being able to thereby control you at the end of the day, it's an interesting concept, you know? And so obviously it's a lot there.
And the public knows virtually nothing about it. It's the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, better known as HAARP.
The HAARP installation is a 35-acre facility that has over 160 antenna arrays all linked up together. They have a 3.6 million watt transmitter, which shoots ELF, or extremely low frequency waves, into our ionosphere, which then bounce back to Earth, increasing exponentially in power.
So assuming that's true, so again, we watch these videos because the initial assumption is this is true. Let's just assume that this conspiracy is true. We're going to break it down, right? That's what Conspiracy Hub is all about. I keep the tinfoil hat on as I believe it. As soon as I stop believing it, it doesn't make sense, I take it off. I will admit, already starting off, it's sort of odd. I mean, the way I saw it is that HAARP would not be a bunch of antennas sitting in the middle of a field. I think for me, I thought HAARP was like, I guess like a machine that shoots things into the, like cloud seeding. You know what I mean? Like we've heard of this cloud seeding thing where like there's a machine that shoots a bunch of clouds into the air, and then those clouds end up creating like these massive storms or whatever. I guess I never really considered that HAARP would be this. You know what I'm saying? Like a bunch of antennas, 35 acres of 160 antennas just sitting in the middle of a field. I would have thought it was something a little bit more impressive than that, right? I mean, first of all, let's be clear about something. The name is impressive, all right? What is it? High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. That is a great name, okay? Starting off great. But for it to then be a field of antennas is pretty underwhelming. So I am already kind of like on the edge because I just don't feel like this would be able to manipulate weather. It doesn't look like it's up to the task. Now, according to him, he's saying that it shoots. Let's listen to it again. I want to make sure I'm clear on the theory here. Okay.
HAARP installation is a 35-acre facility that has over 160 antenna arrays all linked up together. They have a 3.6 million watt transmitter, which shoots ELF, or extremely low frequency waves, into our ionosphere, which then bounce back to Earth, increasing exponentially.
So they shoot low frequency waves into the ionosphere, and then they bounce back, and that energy causes weather disturbances across the world. I don't see, my thing is, because to me, weather control means you have like very direct influence on the weather that is created. You know what I'm saying? I think in my mind, when I think of weather control, I'm thinking someone presses a button and they want a hurricane, right? They press a button and they get an earthquake. Earlier in this video, didn't they make it very clear that not only do these low frequency waves cause earthquakes and tornadoes and hurricanes, but they can also influence your brain? I'm not really seeing how a field of a bunch of antennas is going to shoot off low frequency vibrations into my ionosphere and cause an earthquake. How does that correlate? I'm just saying, kind of weird.
In power.
The government says HAARP is merely a research facility. Some experts believe that the real purpose of this top-secret installation is as a weapon against our enemies.
So this always makes a great conspiracy, right? It's already a real thing. This HAARP program is real, and it is part of the government. And what they're saying is this is not a weather manipulation. It's all about research. We're just researching. We're researching. Okay, I guess what I'm confused about is if HAARP is real, right? Let's assume HAARP is 100% real, as they're saying. I guess what I'm confused about is if it's real and you guys are saying this is true, is it called the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program? Like that's what it's called, right? Like, okay. So for me, what does this have to do with the aurora? I'm kind of confused. Or is auroral supposed to be like another word for atmosphere? Maybe that's what it is. It's very strange. I guess it's not lining up for me exactly how, if the government is saying this is research, like purely research, and conspiracy theorists are like, no, you guys are controlling the weather. I would love to see like what research these guys do. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to jump too far ahead. I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything. I just, I just want a better understanding. So let's listen to more of it, and maybe we'll get it. Okay, here we go.
Some experts believe that the real purpose of this top-secret installation is as a weapon against our enemies, and maybe even our own people. The potential damage caused by this facility has already proven all too real.
So there's some that theorize that these mass animal deaths are and could be connected to the HAARP installation doing these experiments, which again, we have no idea what the effects truly are.
Dairy cow.
See, this is where my tinfoil hat starts to slip. This is the issue. You just said that we are aware and theorize that this HAARP program is controlling our weather with low frequency waves into our ionosphere, causing weather disturbances. Then you just said, we are not entirely sure. Let's listen to it. I just want to make sure I'm hearing him right, because Okay.
We have no idea what the effects truly are.
We have no idea what the effects truly are. Here's my issue. If you guys are going to be conspiracy theorists, I need y'all to get your information correct. If we're sitting here saying that this thing does this thing and causes this effect, in other words, HAARP, their antennas cause low frequency vibrations that go into the atmosphere or ionosphere and cause weather disturbances. For you to turn around and then say, we don't really know what's going on, we're not entirely sure, it kind of like takes your entire conspiracy and just messes it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep the tinfoil hat on for right now, but like it's slowly slipping off. I need y'all to bring it home for me, because as of right now, I am not convinced. I'm simply not convinced. You cannot first say this is what it does and then turn around and be like, we don't really know. Come on, y'all. Like y'all, we got to get a little bit more form factor to this theory. All right, we need to do a little bit better.
It's theorized that when HAARP is in operation and they're shooting these ELF waves up into the ionosphere, that's affecting animal migrations and herds of animals.
The list of HAARP's unintentional side effects goes on.
If you are affecting whale migrations or honeybee migrations, you're not just affecting those animals, you're affecting planet Earth as a whole. People should be highly concerned if HAARP is really affecting the fundamental powers of nature.
Okay, but if HAARP is affecting the fundamental powers of nature, then why aren't human beings also in the area or around these antennas being mutated like the animals? So I think my biggest problem is, as this theory continues, all I want is some consistency, right? That's anything I could ever ask for from a conspiracy theory. You can't be like, HAARP does this with the ELF waves that go into the ionosphere and cause weather disturbances, then turn around and say, we don't really know the effects of these ELF waves, and then turn around and say, we're pretty sure these ELF waves are causing mutations in animals. Okay, if that is the case, why are they not causing mutations in humans? If you're trying to sit and tell me that this area in wherever, Arkansas or whatever, there are no human beings around, I am not convinced by that. I am waiting for y'all to tell me what is going on with the humans in this area. There are human beings that work at this facility. They work right next to these antennas. Where is their medical report? Are they being affected? Are their dicks turning inside out?
The origin of HAARP is shrouded in mystery and deception. Unsealed case file. The HAARP patent. 1987. Houston, Texas. The patents, which would allegedly lead to HAARP, are filed by an oil company physicist.
In looking at the actual patent for the HAARP instrumentation, it says here on the cover, a method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, or magnetosphere.
This patent has all sorts of military applications that can be employed as a warning device. It says right here, it puts unprecedented amounts of power in the Earth's atmosphere.
The government continues to deny that the facility is being used in an attempt to affect the weather.
So that file said that there's immense amounts of energy being deposited into the Earth's atmosphere strategically. Let's read that. I just want to make sure I'm seeing that correct. Unprecedented amounts of power in the Earth's atmosphere at strategic locations. And then it continues to say, and to maintain the power injection level, particularly if random pulsing is employed in a manner far more precise and better controlled than heretofore accomplished by the prior art, particularly by the detonation of a nuclear device. Guys, okay, this is what I'm understanding from this. What their goal was to use this device to communicate with below the surface submarines and using ELF waves or some type of wave to use this communication. Then they realized that these waves at some point started to, or the goal was to control some type of weather event or whatever. I think in my mind, I'm not necessarily against the idea that that's possible. I think for me, as of right now, HAARP, the apparatus, the vehicle of HAARP does not seem like that's what they're doing. Again, if you're trying to convince me, and this is something very important, okay? Any conspiracy theory that I go over on this channel, I'm trying to be convinced. That's my goal. I want to be convinced. I want to listen. I want to understand. But if you guys are saying that this facility this is what they're allegedly doing, and then you turn around and show me some documents that really doesn't add up to, because again, if you use this energy in strategic areas, how does that equal a hurricane that's devastating? How do you necessarily lead that hurricane to a strategic place? And why are you using on the United States? If it is true that we are using HAARP or any other machine to cause damage and use it to create weather events that are devastating, why are we not using it in our enemy's territory? All right, why are there not hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes happening on the other side of the world where we need that to happen at, right? Strategically, militarily. Why is it in the United States? So now that's someone's got to explain that. That doesn't make any sense. What does Florida got to do with that? All right. You got North Korea. You got all these other Iran and Iraq. I mean, you know, there's other places that I'm sure the military would want to use this technology. Why don't I hear of blizzards and tornadoes and massive hurricanes happening over there? Why is it in Florida? What did Florida do?
Operation Popeye was a weather manipulation program during the Vietnam War. What they wanted to do was seed clouds or create clouds to then cause a torrential downpour on troops on the battlefield.
The goal? Increase rainfall and deny the North Vietnamese access to their supply routes.
And they did. They extended a monsoon season by 30 days.
Okay, so again, that's what I mean, right? So this is where my tinfoil hat starts to slip. Because you're telling me that you guys use weather, cloud seeding, and weather manipulation strategically back during the Vietnam War. As many wars as we've had since then, why have I not heard reports that this was the case in other places? Now, that's not to say that it hasn't happened, I guess, but it's like, why aren't we using this more strategically in military operations? Like, there's so many ways you could do that and use it for other instances that they just have not. They just use drone strikes, right? You just turn people to the pink mist and you call it a day. But I'm like, again, I feel like that the United States is more affected by the weather than any other country, than any other like territory, than any other continent. We have so many earthquakes, so many tornadoes, so many weather events that are literally destroying the topography of the United States. Why in the world is that happening, and why us? What did we do? And why would the government, if they are doing that, do that to us? My assessment, they're probably not. Because at that point, it's like you're destroying the very people that you want to support you. You're destroying your taxpayer. You're destroying the very foundation of the country that you want to run. And you're hitting us with hurricanes and tornadoes.
Unsealed case file. Hurricane Katrina. Some say Hurricane Katrina was not an act of nature, but an act of war.
When Hurricane Katrina struck, she went on a very straight path. It's not a path that most hurricanes take. It was almost a beeline. It was a beeline right through into the Gulf of Mexico, aiming right at the heart of New Orleans. That was such a precise hurricane that a lot of people began to wonder, was that being manipulated?
Here's the deal. HAARP is an American-made apparatus that uses low frequency energy to shoot it into the ionosphere in order to control weather strategically, according to them. But apparently, the United States is not the only country with this technology. To be clear, what they just said was that it is possible that our enemies use that same technology to create Katrina to destroy New Orleans. One more time, not really understanding how as a military asset, I'm not sure why New Orleans would be important. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But let's assume, just real quick, for the sake of the theory, that enemy territories did use cloud seeding or weather manipulation to destroy New Orleans. And then the United States, the heroes that we are, right, as a country and as a government, we counteracted their use of weather control with our own weather control devices to control the weather that they try to control and uncontrol the weather so that our weather is under control. As they said, no more hurricane category 5s happen for an entire year after that. But they have happened since. So did the United States just stop using HAARP in order to stop these hurricanes? Right? Hurricane Irma was pretty bad. Hurricane Maria was pretty bad, right? Hurricane Ivan, we just had another one, Helene, destroyed North Carolina and South Carolina. What happened? Do we just ignore? So now every time a hurricane, a Category 5 hurricane happens, am I just to assume that the United States didn't want to do anything about it? And then also, one more time, you're telling me that the United States has the ability to control weather, but yet we have not used it strategically in other countries and our opponents strategically? Unfortunately, for me, and go in the comments below and do your best to convince me of this theory. But the weather control theory, it ain't working for me. My tinfoil hat is off my head. It's too much of that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's so many ways you could use weather seeding or weather controls strategically that the United States just decided not to do. And assuming the United States is not using that against us, why are we going through all these droughts? So many parts of the United States have been going through massive increasing droughts over the last few decades. So has Europe and so has Asia. And these governments are just like, nah, don't use the weather control to put water back in these lakes. Don't use weather control to make sure that our crops are growing. No. We only want to use it just in case there's a hurricane coming. Like, nah, man. No, sorry. That's a no. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I understand that HAARP. I understand the potential of controlling weather, but if the United States and other countries were able to control weather, in my mind, I just would not see them doing it like that. I just don't. The ability to control weather, I think that theory could be true. But if it were true, the usage of it is outrageous. They're not using it in a way that would make sense. If it were to exist, the way it's being utilized is ridiculous.